This Chapter 8 practice quiz contains 10 questions, and the first one asks you to fill in the blanks. Marginal cost blank over the range of increasing marginal returns and blank over the range of diminishing marginal returns. The answer is B, falls and then increases. Why? Because what does increasing marginal returns mean? It means as you add another worker, his output increases by, let me say it another way. As you add one more worker, the additional amount that they produce is going up. So each additional worker is producing more than the previous worker. So that's what increasing marginal return means. And so from a production standpoint, that's good, right? You're getting more bang from your buck out of your employees. Therefore, your marginal cost is falling. Marginal cost, remember, it's a change in output over change in quantity. Marginal product, which is associated with this concept of marginal returns, is change in quantity, or output, divided by change in labor. Question 2. The law stating that if the quantity of a variable factor of production is increased with the quantities of all other factors given or held the same, the marginal product of the variable factor will eventually decline. That's known as the law of diminishing marginal returns. So, for most production processes, an empirical fact is that the total product curve looks like this. In other words, this is the area of diminishing marginal product, right? This is the area of what? Negative marginal product. And this here to here is the area of increasing marginal product. And so we think that most production processes look like this. At first, marginal product is increasing because there's specialization, there's synergies from people working together, but eventually people start running into each other. And then eventually after that, it will become so bad that it will be negative. It's not to say that all production processes look like this. Some may instead have diminishing returns from the very beginning. Or others might be constant over a really long area. But the law really is saying that eventually they're going to start to slow down. And maybe even they'll become negative, maybe not, but all the law is saying is eventually they'll slow down. You're not going to keep it the same rate forever. Eventually you'll slow down. And so perhaps you could think of an example of a production process where that doesn't apply. And so the law is not quite as, we're not as confident as say like the law of thermodynamics, but that's as close as we get in economics to laws. Okay, so for this one, you have to calculate marginal product. Diminishing marginal returns begins with a blank worker. So when we go from 0 to 1 worker, marginal product of the first worker is 1, because we go from 0 to 1. Then when we go from the first worker to the second worker, we get 2, then 4, then 2, then 1, then 0.7, then 0.3, and negative 0.5. In fact, we only need to do it for the first 4, because we see here, initially it's increasing, right? If we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For the first worker, marginal product is 1. For the second worker, marginal product is 2. For the third worker, marginal product is 4. And for the fourth worker, marginal product is 2. So marginal product is going up until here, and then it's going down. So the answer is C, fourth. This question 4 is about the same concept. This is a marginal product sequence. So in the last problem, it was 1, 2, 4, 2, right? But here we have different sequences. And which of these exhibits diminishing marginal returns? this one. So 4 is B. 5, this is just a definition. A factor of production whose quantity cannot be changed during a period is a fixed factor of production. Question 6 is also a definition. Because how do economists define the long run? Well, it's a period of time long enough such that every single input or factor of production can be changed, even the size of your factory. And so, B, the firm considers all factors as variable. Question 7, the total variable cost can be derived directly from. This is maybe not the best question. Certainly, we can rule out the demand curve, because we're talking about costs of production here. Nothing to do with the amount that people value the good. Well, it turns out that the best answer is total product curve. You could probably get pretty close from the marginal product curve, because you could probably construct a total product curve from the marginal product curve, right? In other words, you go backwards from marginal product to total product, just like you can go from total product to marginal product. But it would be harder, so this would be a better answer than this one. This one we already said is wrong. And this we haven't even connected yet to costs. We'll do that after the midterm. So this is the best answer. But it's not a good question. I probably wouldn't give it to you on a final, because I don't really like it. In addition to, because there's also, it says derive directly. Can you really derive a total variable cost curve if you only know the total product curve? What additional information must you know? Not the fixed cost, but another type of costs. What are the variable inputs? Labor. So you need to know the wages. Exactly right. So in addition to the total product curve, you also need to know the wage of the workers. Then you can create a total variable cost curve. Okay, question 8. Curve A crosses the average variable cost curve at, well, first of all, which one is the average variable cost curve? It's C. B is the average total cost curve. And you know that this is the average variable cost curve because it's lower. And so curve A, by the way, is the marginal cost curve. And it crosses the average variable cost curve here. So which of these is correct? Approximately 2.8 units of output? Yeah, that seems like it's correct. But let's check the other ones. Approximately 5.3? No. The minimum value of curve B, which would be here? No. The level of output where diminishing marginal returns begin? This is a tempting answer, but it's not true because that occurs here. We have increasing returns up till here, and then we have diminishing returns after 2. So this is not the right answer either. Only A is correct. Question 9, a total product curve indicates the relationship between inputs and outputs. That's the way to think about it. In other words, we have quantity is a function of inputs. I should write it like this. Outputs are a function of inputs. Finally, question 10, marginal cost blank over the range of blank, then blank over the range of blank. So if we have increasing marginal returns, then we have falling marginal cost, right? And if we have diminishing marginal returns, then we have rising cost. So this is correct. And again, we had a similar question to this. These are different concepts, right? Marginal returns refers to the production function. Marginal cost refers to the cost function. And so keep in mind that these are two different functions, but they're related to each other. All right, folks. Well, have a good week.